Scott, do you want to introduce our illustrious speaker here?
Yeah, sure. So we have Moji Takalu from the University of Portland. And Moji is what I'll say is an expert in transportation traffic safety. And he does a lot of educational trainings for numerous groups and has been doing it for years. And he's done trainings for City of Ashland staff and local staff, engineering and operational staff before. I can't remember, Moji, the last time was 4 years ago, maybe?
Yes, 4 years ago. That's right.
We did an all-day training in the community center when it was open. And we had, multiple staff from the City of Ashland. We actually had a couple transportation commissioners spend the day at that meeting talking about traffic, transportation safety. And Moji reached out to me month and a half ago or so, expressing interest in providing the Transportation Commission a training, but also staff training again as well. So this is kind of an opportunity for us to have a presentation from Moji, and then just an update to the group as well. We'll be doing a staff training on Monday with Moji, and we'll involve kind of the Public Works Engineering Operations staff, and then the street department staff who are out there in the day-to-day and see these things. And I will say that the last time that Moji came down, one of the things he likes to do is do a drive-by in the community and kind of get the visual layout, and he'll spot things and make recommendations. And he made a list of recommendations in his last drive-by, which happened to be, I think, with our public works superintendent at that time. So we implemented kind of all of his recommendations for signage and changes and things like that he caught in this drive-by. So I'm going to turn it over to Moji, and he's going to have a presentation for us. And he likes to be a little bit interactive on his presentations, and likes everyone to participate and ask questions. So if you got any questions or anything like that, please stop him and ask questions, and I'm sure he'll ask us questions as he goes forward as well. We also have, and he sent it out and I have a copy and have been through it, his own kind of traffic safety manual that he's written that we use as well, or have used. And the update he just sent, or Susie just sent us, so we have a brand new copy of that that will be part of our training on Monday. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Moji.
I really appreciate it. I want to express my sincere thanks to Scott for making all of the arrangements. I have been dealing with this gentleman for the past few years. He's such an organized person, so you're in very good hand. I also would like to express my sincere appreciation that you're spending your time with us tonight. This is a workshop. I don't like to be the only speaker, and I just need interactions. I conduct a lot of workshops every year, about 25 to 30 of those, with over close to about 800 to 1,000 participants. We offer workshops for law enforcement agencies. We offer workshops for decision makers such as yourself. And we also offer technical workshops, again, for Public Works Department, which we are going to bring one of those on Monday for City of Ashland. Thank you, Scott. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I want to make sure if you can see it.
Yep.
Yes.
The workshop, that presentation that I have, is road and street safety for non-engineers. This is just for decision makers. It's sponsored by U.S. Department of Transportation, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and Transportation Safety Division of Oregon Department of Transportation. Let's look at what's happening in the country right now. Unfortunately, in 2019, we lost 36,096 people in traffic crashes in the United States. Out of those 36,000, 5,000 of those, they were motorcyclists. 6,200 of those, they were pedestrians. and 846 of them, they were bicyclists. And that just keeps increasing every year. If we also look at the Oregon deaths in traffic crashes from 2014 to 2018, we started at 356, we went to 445, we went to 498, 439, and the latest statistic, 502 fatalities. Those 502 fatalities, it was coming from 446 crashes. There is a difference between crash and number of fatalities because some of the vehicles, they were involved more than one fatality. That's why this number is lower. We also had about 50,000 crashes, reportable crashes in the state of Oregon in 2018. Out of those 502 fatalities, it also ended up to 41,000 injuries in the state of Oregon. What were the problem? As far as the driver concerned, it was failed to avoid stop or park vehicles ahead of them, failed to yield right away, run off the roadway, inattention, driving too fast for the condition, following too closely, failed to maintain lanes, left turn in the front of oncoming vehicles, and etc. For pedestrian, what you were describing a few minutes ago, crossing between the intersections, failed to yield right away, improper uses of the traffic lane by non-motorists. Bicyclists, again, failed to yield right away, disregarding the traffic control devices. Now let's look at what's happening in your area. Your county, Jackson County, has a population of 219,200. You had 32 fatalities. 10 of those, they were alcohol related. Fatal and injury crashes, it was 1,575. For every 1,000 population in your county, 7.19 people, they were killed or injured in your area. 233 of those crashes, it happened at night.
Doctor, I have a question on that last slide. What is a standard ratio on the fatal injuries? Because you just had it on the previous slide, 7.19 per thousand. What is a good ratio on that?
The average for the state of Oregon is 6 for all of the counties, 36 counties. So we are slightly higher. But the good news is here. City of Ashland, your population is 20,815. That was in 2018. We had 79 fatal and injury crashes. Your fatal and injury crashes per thousand population, it was 3.8. Compared to Central Point, which is a city of your similar size, very close to each other. But look at city of Medford, 80,000 population, 5 fatalities. 3 of those, they were alcohol related. Fatal and injury crashes, it was 810. Look at fatal and injury crashes for city of Medford, 10 per thousand population. That's very high. That is 1% of population. They had a fatal and injury crashes in Medford. Almost twice more than the average of state of Oregon. I think you should be proud what you have achieved in your city. I always have been monitoring your data, and you always come on a very lower scale. And again, a lot of that has to go with a lot of communication, coordination, and cooperation of your agencies, as well as citizens. They are so much involved in traffic safety. What's my objectives today? We would like to discuss the problems and challenges of the roads and street safety for the 21st century. Can you discuss some of your challenges in your city? What are your main challenges?
Parking for some people downtown.
Parking for some people, right? And then you do have a lot of parking space very close to the intersection. And if you want to remove it to improve the sight distance, the merchant, they are not going to be happy about it, right? Because the parking is so precious. What else?
A lot of uncontrolled intersections and low volume residential roads, you know, where there's no yield or stop signs, and people forget the rules of the road and the right-of-way rule. And
Yes.
so we have angle crashes in these uncontrolled intersections, and
Sure.
people expect, you know, the city to install a sign if there was a crash there. But that's not always the best next step.
Appropriate, right?
Yep.
Well, one problem that we have, your city, it has almost 21,000 population. And all 21,000 people, they want to be traffic engineer.
That is true.
And
Yep.
they always think that they know more than we do, or you do.
I think another problem is intermittent sidewalks on roadway walks to schools and so forth.
Yes, so your sidewalks, it's not continuous. You do have some interruptions. Scott, have you applied for a grant, Safe Route to School?
Yeah, every time that the grant cycle comes up, we apply for Safe Routes to School funding. You know, our main issue with that funding stream is that all of our Safe Routes to School routes are essentially on low volume, low speed residential roadways.
Yes.
And so compared to other organizations that have schools on higher speed, higher traffic facilities, we're, you know, a lot lower down on the ranking scale because of, you know, our location.
So you have not been successful securing any of those grants.
Not yet.
And hopefully, you know, just knock their door and eventually you will get it.
Yep.
So, we also would like to talk about types and causes of the traffic crashes. What types of the crashes do you have in the city of Ashland? Are these driver inattention or what?
Definitely a lack of attention. We have a lot of rear end crashes. The driving too close, you know, vehicle one rear-ending vehicle two, or vehicle two rear-ending vehicle one. We have a few angle crashes occasionally. We have a lot of right-hand turn, bike and ped vehicle crashes, where a car right-hand turns in front of a bike into a parking lot or another intersection. And because of the narrowness of our roads, we have a lot of fixed object crashes, a lot.
A lot of fixed objects with trees or other
Parked cars.
Parked cars.
Yep.
But the beauty of your city is that you're using a complete streets. What do I mean by that? You're using multimodal transportation system. You do have cars, you do have bicyclists, and you also have a very watchable community, at least in your downtown area, that the people, they walk, they do window shopping, and that improves the social activities. So I think you should be proud of what you have achieved in the city of Ashland. For a small city such as yourself, it is very difficult to achieve those goals, but you have managed to do that. We also would like to talk about 4 E's of the highway safety. Highway safety is not really for Scott or his teams to build the roadways to the highest standard, which that will be good if we can do that. But the crashes, it happens even on the very best roads that we have. As a matter of fact, sometimes when we make the road very nicely, it's nice and straight, no curves, as well as it increases the speed, and we may have more crashes. So engineering is one part of the highway safety, but the other part of the highway safety is about enforcement. Both of the enforcement and engineering department or the public works department must work for a common goal, and that is how to educate the public and we call it, that is the third E of the highway safety. Your enforcement agencies, if they can just be visible and they bring everybody to compliances, there is no need to issue citation. When Scott that he's using, for example, he can use traffic calming such as speed humps to slow down the traffic. Again, that is one solution, one of the tools that he has in his toolbox. But all of those, it is just to educate the traveling public. So it is about highway safety, is about engineering, is about enforcement, is about education. And the fourth is emergency medical services. About 50% of the people, when they are involved in crash, they die instantly. We cannot help them. 35% of them, they die between 1 minute to 59 minutes. And that's what that emergency response time comes in. And now, if the citizens, they ask from Scott or your team to go ahead and put a series of the speed humps, that's going to decrease your emergency response time. So for that reasons, we don't want to put those tools from our toolbox on the roads, which is an emergency routes. So, and then 15% of the people, they die between 1 hour to 30 days. After 30 days, if they die, it's not really considered to be a traffic crash related fatalities anymore. We also would like to talk about best practical application. You have only a limited amount of resources, but we would like to see that what can you do with the penny that you have to give $1 in return to general public. And we would like everybody thinking about highway safety and its place in their lives. The challenges that you have, definitely you have limited budget, limited staffing, and also our traffic data is not perfect. All of these crashes that we are talking about, these are reportable crashes. As many reportable crashes that is recorded, there are as many unrecorded. When we are saying that in the United States, last year, 7.4 million crashes it happened, in reality, it was over 15 million crashes. There is also lack of coordination between the agencies, between police department, public works, and educators. What do you think, who is the best educator to educate the drivers?
I was going to ask you that. We're embarking on a program of we're trying to start a speed reduction program, and we've got to get the education. We've got to get people educated about the importance of speed reduction in regards to safety and in reducing fatalities and major injuries on the road.
Sure.
So what do you have any ideas for us that we
the
can?
The best education, it comes from the parents at the young age. I look at just our kids or drivers, they are like a goldfish.
Mm-hmm.
You're swimming in the traffic stream. And if I can keep them as a goldfish in the river, they stay a goldfish. But if they are not being faced or they are not being reminded that speeding is cause crashes, then that goldfish, it becomes to be a bigger fish and it comes to be eventually a shark. Can you modify the shark's behavior? No. We start again from the parents. Then it goes to middle school. It comes to high school. Then it comes to the enforcement. All of us, we have responsibility to educate the traveling public, but at the young age. When the people, they get bad habit at age of 25 to 30, there is no way that they can modify their behavior.
We're in trouble.
Yes,
By the way, goldfish have a memory of about 10 seconds.
yeah. One thing that I like to tell you, we are not having accidents.
Right.
Just before that we start our workshop, you said that there was an accident. In reality, we don't have accidents. These are crashes. What is accident? Accident, it means no fault, acts of God. Crashes happens because someone has used poor driving tactics as well as judgment. You're driving too fast for condition, it is inattention, you're impaired, and others. Why we call it these are crashes? 67% of the traffic crashes reported in the United States, it was at 100% fault of the human. When the problem started from human, roadway plays some role that adds up additional 24%. When the problem started from human, roadway plays some role. So as vehicle, that adds up additional 4%. If we add up all of this, that comes to be 95%. I can avoid 95% of the crashes if I can modify the behaviors of pedestrians as well as the drivers. One thing that the people, they don't recognize it. They always think violent crime is killing and injuring people. Yes, they do. But they don't know the importance of the traffic crashes. What I did here, I compared fatal crashes. I compared traffic crashes versus crime. There is one traffic fatality happens every 14.4 minutes in the United States, compared to one murder every 32.5 minutes. One person being injured in traffic crash every 11.6 seconds, compared to one violent crime every 26 seconds. One property damage crashes happens every 6.6 seconds, compared to one property crime every 4.4 seconds. One law enforcement reported crashes happens every 4.7 seconds, compared to one burglary almost every 26 seconds. Thus, the traffic kills a lot more people and injures a lot more people than the violent crime. Is being killed in traffic crash less than being dead than being murdered, or do we have that perception problem? I think we have that perception problem. We look at just your police department. How many officers do we have with your police department, including your chief?
I think 32 or 33.
Which is, that's a very good size for the city of your city. What is their emphasis? Where are their major emphasis? Is it right here, or is it a balance between these two?
It's on crime.
Yeah.
I would say 95% of the police department in the state of Oregon efforts is right here. But they don't look at it, the traffic, as a top priority. And we have to change that. And you can see the traffic, it kills a lot more people and injures a lot more people in this country than the violent crime. To look at how bad are the traffic crashes, 2018, the population of the country, it was 327 million. 36,560 fatalities in traffic crashes in this country. 2.7 million people, they were injured. 4.8 million property damage crash, it happened. For a total of 6.7 million, it cost the country $445 billion. Some of us, we do have problems of wearing seatbelts. Seatbelts in this country saves about 15,000 lives per year. Airbags, it saves about 2,800 lives per year. To look at to give you just what is really causes of the problems. Let's look at that 36,500 fatalities. 6,283 of those, they were pedestrians. Almost 5,000 of those, they were motorcyclists. 857 bicyclists. But look at right here, 10,500 of those, they were alcohol related. And 9,378 of those, they were speed related. Over 30% of our fatalities, they were alcohol. And about 27 to 28% of those, they were speed. If we can just avoid those two factors, we can save almost 60% of our fatalities in the United States.
Well, I do have a question on that. Couldn't some of those overlap? In other words, could you have
Yes,
speed
there are.
and alcohol?
There are about 40% overlap between these. The people, they were drinking, they were also speeding. That's right. 40%.
And some of the motorcyclists could have been going too fast and alcohol impaired as well. So.
Oh, sure. As a matter of fact, the alcohol consumptions by motorcyclists and the fatality rate is much, much higher than what you're seeing here. It's about close to about 42 to 43% of our fatalities, motorcyclist fatalities, they're alcohol related. Sure. Do we have that much problem with alcohol in your city?
Currently with COVID, I would say no, because I follow the crash reports, as we would call them now. And the DUIs and the alcohol-related incidents this year have dramatically decreased. Part of it's COVID. And so the bars weren't open and stuff like that. You go back a couple of years and we have plenty of DUIs.
You did have plenty of DUIs. How is your police department, you're very aggressive about alcohol consumptions and driving, impaired driving?
You know, I want to say, yeah, I think so. And I know they've done a couple of campaigns as well and brought in got grant money, I think, a little bit ago to have extra enforcement for holidays and things like that. So I know they have had focused efforts on driving while impaired activities.
Sure, that's very good. By tomorrow at this time, at 6:30, 100 more people, they are going to be losing their lives on our roadways in the United States. By tomorrow at this time, almost 7,500 people, they are going to be injured. By tomorrow at this time, 18,000 more crashes is going to happen in the United States. Some of you remember those images. September 11, 2001. What happened that day? Some evil-minded people, they attacked the country. That was the darkest day of the US history of our lifetime. How many innocent lives we lost that day?
Roughly 4,000.
Roughly about 4,000, 3,030 innocent lives. One life is too many. Can you tell me how many people they have been killed in traffic crashes since that time in the United States?
Oh,
360,000?
360,000. Any other number?
Maybe 20 by 30. Pretty closer to 600,000 if it's 30,000 a year times 20 years.
Sure. 700,000.
Yeah, okay, pretty close.
How many injuries has happened since that time?
Oh,
48 million. What does that mean? Almost 13 to 14% of the US population, they have been injured. How many crashes has happened? 113 million. 1/3 of the US population, they had a crash since that time. How much did it cost us? $5.1 trillion. Some of us, we may not have now feeling about these numbers. So what I did, here is Portland, Oregon. Here is Sacramento, California. This is I-5. I assume the height of the person, he or she was 5'3". I laid down all of those dead bodies on the center line of the I-5. You can travel for 10 and a half hours on I-5 from Portland, Oregon to Sacramento, and you're driving over dead body. That's the magnitude of the problem. About the injuries, when we go around the earth, it is 24,900 miles. If I put all of these injuries around the earth, it covers the entire around the earth, and I still have to go a quarter farther. About the cost, here is Earth, here is the moon. The distance is 238,900 miles. I took $100 bill, and that's 6-inch long. And I put all of those end to end. Every single year, you can reach from Earth to the moon with the cost of the traffic crashes. How many of our decision makers, they know these facts? Does your city councilors, they know these facts?
She does
Does your-
now because she's here.
I do have some of those.
All is here.
Yeah.
I see. That's wonderful. So, Oregon, we had 502 fatalities, 79 pedestrian fatalities, 9 bicyclists, and 85 motorcyclists. Out of 502, 146 of those, they were speed related, which is 29%. 142 of those, they were alcohol and drug related, which is 28.3%. Since the legalizations of marijuana, have you seen any more crashes related to being impaired?
I don't know.
I can't say any more overall from my kind of recollection of the crash summary reports and reviewing them. I don't think we've seen what I would say any significant increase after.
You have not seen it.
Yeah.
Well, Oregon State Police, they are reporting almost 165% more crashes related after legalization of marijuana. That's right. Do we have distracted drivers in your city?
Every day.
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
Oh, yeah.
What they are being distracted? Texting, using cell phones, eating, talking to passenger, using navigation, adjusting a radio, drowsy or fatigued, and concentrating on something else other than driving. I'd like to ask you, have you done any of these for the past 24 hours?
No.
Did you drive?
I haven't driven. the past
Okay, so
24
that's the
hours.
reason. You know, we are being so addicted to technology. We are talking about COVID-19, but we also have a bigger pandemic. And that is addictions to the use of technology. Addiction to use of the smartphones. And we are getting worse and worse every day. And there is no cure for that pandemic. There is no vaccination. And unfortunately, we are doing all of this on a regular basis. And that's the pandemic that we are dealing with. Distractions. Look at this road. Do you see, Scott, from engineering point of view, do you see anything wrong with this road?
You have a nice straight, wide open area. You have the rumble strips on the side, good paint. Yeah, not really.
The road is perfect.
Clear
right?
day. Yeah.
It's perfect. There is nothing that I can do. But what happened here? Again, driver distractions. And you can see what happens. So you saw the facts. What are your agency's highway safety goals and objectives for City of Ashland?
You know, I think our goals, like, you know, other major municipalities, are 0 fatalities within the system and 0 serious injuries. So
your Scott is not saying that he's going to reduce the crashes. He's saying that his goal is going to be 0. 0 fatalities and 0 disabling injuries. We established this goal. We are not going to reach it next year, but we work towards that goal. Our goal is not reduction. Our goal is this: 0 fatalities and 0 disabling injuries. Let's establish this goal for your city and let's work towards this goal. What is a beautiful road? How do you know that your downtown is beautiful? How do you define the beautification?
Slow moving traffic with more pedestrians and bicyclists moving back and forth along the road. um,
Miss
safe crossings, people being able to cross and feeling safe, people being able to feel safe walking and biking through town.
Miss Patterson, she is saying that she wants to have a slow road. She wants to have what? Partnership between all users. She wants to have what? Pedestrians. She wants to have social activities on the side, on your sidewalks. She wants that everybody respect each other's rights. Beautiful road is not about plantation. It's not about having those like Oswego baskets. It's not about the trees, which I love it. It is about a balanced act. We cannot be extreme on both sides. If we want to have, for example, 0 fatalities related to speeding, we can reduce the speed to 10 miles per hour. Is it acceptable to general public? No, the society is moving fast. And we cannot slow down the society. What we have to do, we have to see how we can manage better the system. So a beautiful road, the way that I am going to define it, a road with 0 fatalities and 0 disabling injuries. A road with no blood on it, it is a beautiful road. The people, they come to Ashland or to Oregon for what? Landscape. For streams. Look at just by Scott's office, you come out and you see that nice river, that nice park. It's a beautiful setting. They come for the colors. They come for the sunsets and they come for the ocean. Look at how beautiful is the state of Oregon. And I like to make your roads as beautiful as what you're seeing in this picture. So talk is too cheap. We are going to establish that 0 goal, fatalities and 0 disabling injuries. We have to have a plan. We have to know where we are now. In terms of our crashes, in terms of our hot phones, and in terms of the causes of those crashes. You also have to know where do we want to be in the future. In future, it's not going to happen overnight. We have to come with a roadmap, how to reach to that, towards that 0 goal. We know the direction that we are moving, 0 fatalities, but writing the roadmap is going to be your responsibility. Some areas of your city, it has alcohol problems. Some areas of your city, it has speed problems. Some areas of your city, it has violent problems. So we want just to see what we can do and how we can write that roadmap. And then we want to see that how we can get there. Shall we put more responsibility on the enforcement, more responsibility on engineering, more responsibility on educators, or what? And then we also would like to see how we can measure our progress. If I put 2 more, for example, traffic officer, am I going to change or am I going to reduce the number of the crashes substantially or not? We have to measure our progress. If we cannot measure it, then we don't know that all of those resources that we have to put in the system has been rewarding. So we always start with engineering. We build the roadways to the certain standard. We give that road to the enforcement. If I design that roadway for 45 miles per hour, someone wants to drive at 70 miles per hour, we know that we are going to have problems. But the responsibility of these 2 departments is going to be what? To educate the traveling public. And that education can come with what? Traffic signal. It can be with traffic calming. It can come with the enforcement. It can come with the visibility of your police officers as well as others. And finally, we also want to have a good emergency response time because I want to say that 35% of the population that they are being involved in traffic crash, that they are going to survive between that 1 minute to 59 minutes. The first thing it is, you have to look at what are your road dinosaurs? What are your problems in your area? You do have what? Pedestrian issues, right? You do have tourism. You do have distractions. So what the first thing, identify who is the bigger dinosaur. What are the dinosaurs? Then we go ahead and look at what are the engineering tools. What can I do with engineering? Shall I narrow the roadways? Shall I, if I have 4 lanes, 2 lanes per direction, perhaps I can convert that one to 3 lanes, 1 lane in each direction plus a turning lane. Then we also put emphasis on the population that you're at the risk. Those are young and senior drivers. Why young drivers? They are having more crashes.
Distraction.
Distraction.
Speed.
And again, and beside that, they do have a good perception reaction time, but they are not basically mentally fully grown at that age of 17. Their decision-making process, it doesn't go as fast because they have so many other things in their mind. How about senior drivers at the age of 75 or older? Why do we have crashes?
Slower reaction time.
Slower reaction times.
Medications they're taking.
But they are, again, their judgment is still very good, but they do have slower perception reaction time. We do have speedy problems, impaired drivers, pedestrians, bicyclist problems, and you saw that all of those right-of-way issues, motorcyclists, distracted drivers, as well as problems in the work zone area. Engineering and enforcement must work together. You cannot disjoint them. For maximum, to provide the highest safety, let's work with engineering and enforcement together. We must focus on changing driver as well as road users' behavior. And who can change that behavior? If I do have speedy drivers, who can change that behavior? We mentioned that at young age, is parents. Then it comes to what? Educators at middle school, high school. But when they do have driver's license, it becomes to be what? Enforcement issue. When someone sees an enforcement, a police officers in their neighborhood, they remember it for 6 weeks. We call it 6 weeks concept. Enforcement changes behavior up to 6 weeks, but after 6 weeks, the people, they forget about it. It is not, enforcement is not really about issuing citation, it's about visibility. It is about even stop someone, remind them, yes, if they don't deserve to get a citation, don't do it. So we work with engineering and educators to permanently changing the driver's behavior. Education, we mentioned, it starts from parents, middle school, high school, as well as it comes to enforcement. And emergency response time is very important for us. Every time that we use speed humps, perhaps it increases the response time by about between 5 to 10 seconds. And in order to be effective, you have to use 3 of those in a series. That may increase the emergency response time by as much as 30 seconds. Everything that we put on the roadway, we use our Bible, is called Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. I cannot always just put a traffic stop sign. Scott has much bigger responsibility. If you put the stop signs at every intersection, the people, they are not going to respect it anymore. And he's going to have a lot more crashes. Traffic control includes signs, signals, pavement marking, and traffic control devices are used to regulate, warn or guide the traffic. You get a lot of requests. Let's put multi-way stop sign. Do you get a lot of that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they also get it, let's use it as traffic calming to slow down the traffic.
Yep.
Yes.
A stop sign shall not be used as traffic calming. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
A stop sign installation must be based on engineering study. What are those engineering studies? when you do have 5 or more reportable crashes, which can be corrected by stop sign, which has happened for the past 12 months. You also have to have minimum vehicle volumes, and there is a table based on that. So we are not just putting because citizens, they want it. We listen to them, we evaluate it. If it meets the warrant, we put it, but if it doesn't, simply we can tell them that what are the reasons for not doing it. Rectangular rapid flashing beacon. Your city is with foot traffic. You do have a lot of foot traffic. It's a tourist attraction. It's a beautiful city. Either you do have traffic signals, which is good, then it interrupts the flow for what? For pedestrians. At the mid-block, and if you still have a lot of foot traffic, we strongly recommend using rectangular rapid flashing beacon. Do you have any of those?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
What's your feeling about using those?
Scott, can you, aren't there ODOT regulations involved with putting some of those up?
So in
We
there,
talked about that with North Main.
yeah, and I think Moji knows this a little bit. Where, some of the roads in Ashland are under ODOT jurisdiction, so we have to follow ODOT kind of process and control. And then some of the roads that are under our jurisdiction, we've gone out and installed RFBs. And ODOT, Moji, can be not as positive about installing things on their facilities. So we've had those discussions, but on a lot of our local roads that are under our jurisdictional control, we put the RFBs, and they work well. And it took a little bit of time for people to become, let's say, button pushing responsive. And we put additional advanced warning signage and rumble strips in association with our kind of high pedestrian corridor there at the college, where we have a lot of crossings as classes let in and out at those mid-block locations.
Yes, you're talking about your SESQs, right?
Yep.
And which is what 4-lane facility, 2 lanes per directions, as well as your medium.
Yep.
Which we did have in 1 year. I remember that we had about 4 fatalities at that location. That was a long time ago. Yeah. But you're right, ODOT, they care about mobility. And they don't want to have the interruptions of the traffic flow. And obviously, safety is also important for them, but mobility of their system is very important. How about, are you using any signs like this? That it monitors the speed of the people, it start flashing when they go above that speed?
We have trailers that we put out at different locations around town, but there are no permanent.
No permanent one, and actually that's even better.
Isn't there 2 of those actually? Wasn't there one up there on Terrace? On the corner? And isn't there one right before Bellevue?
Grandview, we have Grandview.
I forgot about that one.
And there used to be one on Laurel adjacent to Hellman, but that one reached its end of life.
Right.
And that one was in the school zone.
And then we have one by Bellevue? Or is that ODOT's?
That would have been ODOT's.
And that wasn't in the school zone?
Yeah, it's in the school zone when you're coming in from the south, coming north.
Yeah, because that's a 45 to transition from a 55 to a 45
Right.
to a school zone. So I think they had it out there for that reason.
Sure. And who control that? Who moves it? Is it police department, or is it going to be public works or citizens?
The police department.
Okay.
And recommendations from us too.
From your committee.
From the
right?
commission, yeah.
Okay, so that's good. And moving that one is very important. A lot of us, we get bad habit because we were not reminded that we are going too fast. As soon as that you see, oh my God, the speed is 25 miles, so I'm going to 40 miles per hour. A lot of people, they come to compliances. It changed their behavior. But there are bad behaviors as well that we cannot correct it. As long as that we don't leave that one at certain location for an extended period of time, is going to be very effective. And usually we recommend less than 5 days at one location. Do you have a lot of trees in your city?
Yes.
Yes.
And a tree like this, what's this tree is trying to tell you? It's trying to tell you, kill me before I kill someone else.
Hmm.
We are a tree lover, but when it comes someone's loved one and a tree, I will kill the tree before I kill someone else's loved one. There should be a priority. But this tree, it is a good indication. It is in bad location. It has been hit, and the next person, he or she may not be lucky. How about this? You know, that's very extreme. It's a brand new street in City of Tigers.
Mhm.
Which is more important for me?
Good idea.
Traffic control devices, right? This is in City of Lake Oswego. Do you allow that the people to have this type of mailbox? Although it's beautiful, it is within public right of way. If something happens at this location, do you know who is going to be responsible? Your department is going to be responsible. How about this type of mailboxes?
Yep, got them everywhere.
Yes, I have
It's a big
videos on this.
problem.
Yes, I have videos on this one that there was a crash study on this. The car hit this one, it was rolled over 6 times. Although it looks beautiful, but it is very dangerous. How about this, City of Woodburn?
Mm.
And this is within public right of way. A
And
crash
it's
like
blocking the
that.
sidewalk.
Yes, and you're also not meeting your ADA requirements in this case.
That's right.
Traffic calming. What's the reason for traffic calming? Because what we would like to make, improve your neighborhood livability. We want to enhance safety for residents and use a multimodal transportation system. We would like to use bicyclists. We would like that to use by cars, by transit, as well as also by pedestrians. What do we use? We use speed humps. Do you use the speed humps in your city?
We have one location on Oak Street where they are installed.
Has it been effective?
No.
Marginally.
Marginally. One problem with the speed hump, although it reduced the speed, but it may transfer the problem from that location to another location. The other problems with the speed humps is the people they requested, they don't know. It is just they are causing a problem for themselves because every time a car goes over the speed hump, it increases the noise and vibration. And these people they usually requested, they are the first people they asked to remove it. Speed cushion. One problem that I have with the speed hump, it reduced the emergency response time. So in that case, we use a speed cushion, and this is open for what? Emergency medical services. Roundabout. Have you thought about using the roundabout? I know that you did have one of those intersections, which I didn't like it, and that was your gas station at the middle of that street. Do you still have that gas station? That is just by your office when you come out. Then you go to your fire department.
There's the
Oh,
Astro Gas or the one over used to be now Ashland Automotive.
Well, it is at the middle of your street, and you have access. They have accesses from all different directions.
Oh, that's the Astro Gas.
Yeah.
Astra, Lithium.
So it's still right there, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, that can be a very good roundabout in the future. Yeah. What's the beauty of the roundabout? This is uncontrolled intersection, 4-way uncontrolled intersection. Each of those dots that you see is a conflict between what? Motorists. With the roundabout, you only have, that's 32 conflicts. With the roundabout, you have one merging conflict and one diverging. So overall, you only have 8 conflict points compared to 32. This was on 14 and Colorado Street in Bend. What's the safety aspects performance of the roundabout? There was a study by National Cooperative Highway Research Program. Roundabout, it reduced fatal crashes by 90 to 100%. Injury crashes by 75% and 35% in total crashes. We talk about rectangular rapid flashing beacon. How about cul-de-sacs? Is it very popular in your city?
We,
In certain locations, there are cul-de-sacs or hammerheads. We don't have a lot of them. Most of the roads are connected for the most part.
yeah, a lot of flag lots, though.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, we like to have connectivity of the system. Cul-de-sac, although the people, they feel very secure and safe, but you lose the connectivity of the system. If there is going to be an emergency here, and if this is not connected, they have to go all the way, and that increases your emergency response time. Road surface. How good are your road surface, your asphalt, Scott?
We've just talked about this quite a bit, and you know, we suffer like a lot of other locations when having, especially our arterials and collectors at a poor level. You know, 50% or 50 PCI rating or below on a lot of them, and you know, we're shooting
50,
for
you said
70 or better.
50, Scott?
50, yeah, 50 PCI or lower, and
Oh
we're
my
shooting
God.
for 70. Yeah.
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 Yeah, what Scott is talking about present condition index rating. That's the rating that we give to the roadways. Usually when it drops below 70, immediately it needs attention. If you don't do it, then it's going to, you have to do a major reconstruction. The way that we look at your pavement, the pavement is like human. Suppose someone has been diagnosed with cancer. The first cancer cell that it goes and they can detect it, they can do radiation chemotherapy, that person can be cured. And that is in the pavement, it is your first crack that it goes in the pavement. If we let that crack to go and don't do anything, it's going to spread itself, and that's your cancer cell. And eventually the pavement is going to fail and you cannot help it. So spending the dollar this year that Scott can spend it, he may save you $4 to $5 in 2 years from now. Spending the right dollar at the right time is important. Pedestrian safety and speed management. One problem that we have, or pedestrian fatalities, has been increasing every single year. 6,374 fatalities in 2018. A pedestrian was killed every 1.4 hours in the United States. 48% of our pedestrian fatalities, they were alcohol related, either the pedestrian or the drivers. Which is what? It's supposed to be less than 30%. But for pedestrian fatalities, either pedestrian was intoxicated or the driver was intoxicated. And you can see this number is approaching to almost 50% right now. Pedestrian fatalities has been the highest since 1990. We always put a lot of emphasis on intersections. Only 18% of the pedestrian fatalities happens at the intersection. 10% it happens on the shoulders and drivers, but 72% it happens at the mid blocks. So in reality, we think the problems is here. The problems is right here, away from the intersections. In Oregon, we had 79 pedestrian fatalities, 949 injuries, which almost was 16% of our total fatalities. What happens? One of the major problems that we have, especially with the use of the technology in their hand, the people, they just dart in without looking. The other problems that we have, like for example, on your sesquios that can happen, this vehicle may stop, but this vehicle may not stop. We call it multi-threats. The other problems that we have, the people, they walk with dark clothes with their animal at night, and they think they are going to be seen. No, the cars, they may miss them. So we have to educate the people, your foot traffic people, that they must be visible. So think, and the other things that we think that putting white lines is save lives. No, it's not. As a matter of fact, there was a study by Charlie Ziegler. That study is called Marked versus Unmarked Crosswalk. What this gentleman he did, he's the guru of the pedestrian safety in the country. They look at 2,000 uncontrolled intersections. 1,000 of those, it was marked. 1,000 of those, it was unmarked. We had a lot more crashes at the marked crosswalks. Why? Because we were giving false sense of security to the pedestrians.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yes. And you can Google it, marked versus unmarked crosswalks. And that report is available on Google. And you can download it. It was written in 2005. One thing that you should know that marked crosswalk by itself, it is not a good treatment. What we have to use with the other combination of the engineering tools, such as curve extension, raised crossing islands, traffic signals, roadway narrowing, overhead lighting, and thinking of the marked crosswalk as one option in progressions of the other design treatments. What we had, this was that wide. What they did, they narrowed down this road that much. By narrowing down, they improved the visibility of that pedestrian. Beside that, that pedestrian, he or she walks at 3.5 feet per second. They minimize their exposure of that pedestrian to the traffic by as much as 3 to 4 seconds. Crosswalks. Do you have decorative crosswalks in your city?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you really proud of it? What's the reason that we put this crosswalk? Is it for pedestrians to see it?
No, it's a beautification
Decorative.
treatment. Yeah.
It is for motorists to see it, right?
Mhm.
So this one, it's not going to be that visible. Now let's go ahead and put the white lines. Do you see that it makes a lot more visible? So whenever you are using those decorative ones, please make sure that you use the white lines. Also, don't put crosswalks unless you have a good illumination, especially at mid-blocks. We hardly discourage mid-block crosswalks. If you definitely have to use it, there is a school, there are so much social activities, then make sure that you do have a good illumination. And in addition to that, we prefer continental crosswalks over 2 lines. Whatever that you touch, when you touch your crosswalks, sidewalks, you know that all of a sudden it triggers what? ADA requirements. A lot of cities has been sued, such as City of Bend, such as Oregon Department of Transportation, because they were not in compliances with ADA requirements. How we are doing in the city of Ashland?
We still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
You know, in our downtown core and that main area, you know, there is access, but it doesn't meet today's standard and the updated standard. And
Okay, but do you have, Scott, a plan? Have you identified all of your problems? How many ramps it needs to be upgraded?
yeah.
And do you have those in the book?
Yep.
Yes.
And because, you know, if you do have a plan and it's documented, if someone gets hurt, you end up in the court, they cannot call you acts of negligence for not having the resources. Because you already had that plan. It's established, you're working towards upgrading. And you can say that we are going to upgrade 20, 30, 40 of those per year, and this is our plan. As long as you have prioritized it, then nobody can take you to the court. This is what I like. This is a street that I like because I have bicyclists, I have transit, I have cars, I have parked cars. Then I also have all of these social activities. We call it a complete street. Bicyclists. How important is bicyclists in your city?
Very.
Very.
Very. Right?
More and more so.
Yep.
More and more, right? The people, they come to Ashland, what? they like to have a very comfortable life. They want to be away from traffic, right? They want a quality of life. So in that case, you know that one of the exercises that we can do, it is what? Bicycling. Why we should take cars? This pandemic has not helped us that much. Like myself, I come from upstairs, downstairs, and you know, that's how much activity that I have. In the classroom, you know, when I was teaching 1.5 hours, 3 hours, I was walking all the time. Do you have a dedicated bike lane? Are your bike lanes, they are 6 feet or what, 4 feet?
They vary between 4 and 6 feet, depending on where they are, where we
Okay.
have bike lanes, yeah.
Okay. Scott, do you separate them from the main traffic flow by buffers?
We have no buffered bike lanes in the
Because you
city.
don't have right of way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you thought about road dieting?
We've got a
Narrow
road.
down your lanes and just give more bike lane.
We
Yeah.
did on North Main, we did the road diet a few years ago. And yep, we've talked about it for the downtown with the 3-lane as well, but haven't got there yet.
Sure.
But also with the road diet, we've had zero improvement in accidents since it's been installed. We have the same amount of accidents on the same section of road that we had before the diet.
So you're saying
think
that the road diet has not helped you as much, right?
So the difference now is the accidents are the distracted driving versus the angle crash accidents. So the severity is less. If you, as I looked at it, you know, we've eliminated or reduced those angle crashes from those left-hand turn movements, but we have more bumper to bumper
Rear-enders.
rear end.
Right.
Sure. You know, sometimes, you know, that we put a device, an engineering tool, but the people, they may take advantage of it. This is in city of Portland. When they put it originally, we had more crashes. The speed of the bikers, it increased. Right. What the city of Portland, they want to be the next Amsterdam. When you arrive at the airport, they write it just in their elevator, Amsterdam. You're arriving in Amsterdam. I think that's wishful thinking, but they are working towards that goal. Neighborhood speed watch for speed control, such as speed display, reader board, it has been very effective. Do you have a neighborhood speed watch that the people, they monitor the speed in their neighborhood?
So we developed, the Commission and Public Works developed a traffic calming program for
Right.
local residents to enter into. And one of the things we talked about was doing a speed radar program where they could check out a radar gun and monitor, but we decided against that in kind of our pilot traffic calming program.
Sure, okay. But that has been very effective. One of the things that we like the visibility of the law enforcement. They don't have to issue citation. They don't have to stop. As long as the people, they see these black and white cars, it brings a lot of people to compliances. What color are your police cars in the city of Ashland? Are black and whites?
White and blue.
What, blue, white and blue?
White and blue, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, dark blue. Yeah.
Dark blue, okay. Yeah, and you see it in the Hollywood movies, you see black and white because it has more visibility. Again, sometimes, you know, that officer that he's driving in the traffic stream, he can bring or she can bring a lot of people to compliances. Law enforcement officers must focus on changing driver behavior during the traffic stop. It's not really about citation, but about changing their behavior. Speed reader board, very, very effective as long as we move it. And your city is beautiful city. Look how beautiful is city of Ashland. This is by your office the day that I was presenting. But your city also has streets like this. What's wrong with this one?
Narrow, dark.
Narrow sidewalk on one side, a bunch of trees blocking the view.
And look at this one. Does he has any view?
Yeah.
So we have to think about obstructions. As I said, I myself, I am a tree lover, but when it comes to saving lives versus a tree, I will put priority on human's life. This is also in your city. Look at this. How much triangular sight distance? Can you see what's here?
Yeah.
Nope.
This is also in your city.
Yeah.
Strawberry.
Yep. Strawberry and scenic.
Yeah. Can you see this truck? So in that case, what I do, I put my stop sign, then I put my stop bar right here. And I don't see any stop bar right here. At least we can improve the sight distance. This is also in your city.
It's all in the same area though.
Yep.
Yep.
Same area,
You
huh?
know it. Yeah.
Okay. This one is also in your city.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say that if Scott, your public works director, just say that this belongs to someone's backyard. What is the policy of your city?
Somebody has to complain, and then the code compliance officer has a long list of all these kinds of projects where he's got to tell the people to cut the bushes down.
Yeah, but you know, when I took this picture, this tree did not grow overnight. So that means
No.
it has been ignored for many, many months or years.
Yes. And it's complaint driven is the problem. We don't
Yeah.
have, like Eugene has a program where city staff goes around and, you know, goes up and down the streets and finds out where vegetation is a problem. And we don't have that. We don't have the capacity to do that.
And I think, you know, your city, they should be more proactive about this. And even you can see, this is intruding right now into the roadways.
Yeah.
And the people, they shy away, they go what? They go over your center line in that regard. This is also in your city. How you can justify ADA requirements? ADA requirement is what? Minimum of 4 feet. How much do you have here?
2 feet, I'm guessing.
2 feet. Even that 2 feet that you have is not useful 2 feet because your pavement, the roots of this tree has lifted your sidewalks. A lot of times we put a tree, and it is in my neighborhood as well. My neighborhood is 20 years old. 20 years ago, that tree, it was 2 inches in diameter. That tree right now is 14 inches in diameter. 4 weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago, that we had that snow and ice, a lot of those branches came down. A lot of trees, it came down. When it comes something like this, although the tree is so beautiful, but then you must comply with ADA requirements. You must comply with pedestrians. You must comply with a lot of distracted pedestrians. So think about what is the priority. Should I kill the tree? Should I cut the tree at this location? Or should I be letting that the crash or that accident happens? Again, we have to prioritize those. In this case, I went with your previous public works director, and eventually you had extra lane right here. I think eventually it was decided to put a sidewalk right here on front of these sidewalks.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do that because they didn't want?
That's
That
a
Hersey?
bird.
Yeah,
It's
that's
Hersey.
Hersey.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was good because we didn't need the capacity at that time. But that way, you save the tree. You also provided sidewalks. You are meeting ADA. At the same time, by removing one of these lanes, you also naturally slowing down the traffic. This is your sescues that we did have some crashes, right? You do have a lot of students going between this side to the other side. And that is an ODOT facility. The good thing it is that you do have good pavement marking. And these are you using any rectangular rapid flashing beacon at this location, especially at mid blocks?
Yep.
Yes.
And was it effective?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
We also have rumble strips
Okay.
leading up to it.
Scott, I see that you're using 12-inch line. For visibility, we would like to use 24 inches. And we use 24 inch, a gap of 36 inch. Then you also left this area open, which is good, because then that reduces your what? Your maintenance activity. This is also in your downtown area, very well marked. The only thing that I see, it is not ADA compliant.
And we fixed it.
That's been changed.
Yep.
That has changed, right? So it was changed recently.
Mhm.
This is also your city. What we do have, you do have, when we look at sidewalks, you look at curve zone, we look at furniture zone. Curve zone, it's usually 4 to 6, 6 to 8 inches. Furniture zone, we like to have, we provide them for separation of the main traffic from what? Pedestrians. Usually we use 3 to 5 feet. Then you do have your pedestrian zone. And then we do have what we call it frontage zone. Your pedestrian zone, we would like to keep that one to 6 feet minimum. Do you have good sidewalks? I know in downtown area, you do have good sidewalks. And do you also have a lot of good frontage, right? To improve the social activity. One problem that we have seen when you're using this, the ladies with the high heel shoes, sometimes their heels is going to end up right here, and we have seen some trip hazards. I don't know if you had any of those situations in your city or not.
Occasionally, yep.
Occasionally. No matter what we do, Scott, someone finds some way to hurt themselves. The city of Medford, they are using what? Ball belts. But to make the emergency vehicles not to decrease their emergency response time, they make this one traversable. But the problem is the cars, they drive over those. And we are endangering the traveling public. I put a book together, it's called Safety Handbook for Oregon's Local Roads and Streets. And that book has about 23 chapters, and it discusses all of the things that we have discussed about pedestrian safety, bicycle facilities, traffic control devices, when shall we use a stop sign, and etc. That book is available at www.up.edu/highway safety. I would like to thank you for being such a wonderful audience and for your commitment to traffic safety. These are my contact information. I promise, Scott, that I finish by 7:30 and I am just off by 1 minute. Thank you so much. I appreciate it for being here. But if I can be any help, please let me know.
Thank you so much for coming. Does
I
anybody have
appreciate it,
any?
Ms. Peterson. It was my pleasure to be here.
Oh.
Yes, Mr. Mark?
Mark?
Is there such thing as too many signs? 'Cause on one of your photos, you showed
Yes.
traffic signal with, on the other side of the street, I can see 5 roads back of 5 road signs. On this side of the street, I can see 5 road signs. Is there such a thing as too many road signs?
Oh, yes, yes. We have used signage so irresponsibly. We have about 14 million small signs in this country. Obviously, we have to evaluate it. The ones which are not needed, let's remove it. Too many, let me tell you, human brain. Human brain is a huge Costco of the restoring the information. How much information does it goes to the brain per second? You have heard the word of bits in the computer. We are exposed to about 1 billion bits of the information per second to the brain. When I am just speaking right now, my eyes take a picture of all of you, and then it converts it into the bits. It stores it in the brain. Then how much of that one can I pay attention to it out of 1 billion that it goes?
Two
Can you
bits,
give me a number?
2 bits and a haircut? I don't know.
2,000 bits. I don't know.
2,000. Scott, do you know?
No. Huh.
A very young brain at age of 25 can only pay attention to 16 bits out of 1 billion. How much of that one can you remember the next day? 0.6, less than 1 bit. So that brings to your question, Mark. When I put too much information that the brain store all of these signs in the brain, I have to force the brain, which one is more important for me? And how can I make that one to happen? That's why that we play with the colors, like red for regulation signs. We make it flashing so that brain pay more attention to that. A lot of us, we think that, for example, Oregon has hands-free phone law, and we think that's safe when we drive when we drive, we feel safe that we are also talking on the phone. The problem is, it is not your hand. The problem is, driving task is the human brain. And when someone talk on the phone, that 16 bits that they're supposed to pay attention to the roadway, it goes to listening. In reality, you don't have no more bits that you're paying attention. And that's why that person who is being distracted, he's or she's going to have a lot more crashes. So please use your phone responsibly. Yes, we use it for emergency in the car. Yes, that's good. But do not get this habit. As I said, it's becoming to be pandemic. And there is no vaccination that we can cure the general public at this moment. Any other questions for me, please?
Moji, I got a question. Oh, go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, I noticed you said that 97% of the accidents were caused, at least in part, by driver error. As you know, you may have heard that there are now cars going around the streets of San Francisco that always have a monitor, the kill switch, and no steering wheel.
Yes.
The future of autonomous driving is on the threshold. Do you think this is going to help, or is there going to be a difficult transition where we're going to have even more problems?
Yes, I have been at so many conferences in Washington, D.C. Even the secretary, our speaker, she was the secretary of the U.S. Department of Transportation. It was not last year, the previous year, about autonomous vehicles. We do have the technology. The technology is going to take over, and we are not going to have any more human behavior issues, which is the reductions of that 95%. But the problem is technology has its own security problems. At a fraction of the second, if someone gets hold of the technology, they can cause several 100,000 crashes in a matter of fraction of a second. We are talking about disconnected cars. Technology in terms of the car, yes, it is there. But in terms of our laws, it's not there. Let me tell you some of the problems that was discussed. One of that, it was security of the system. The other problems, it was who is responsible if there is going to be a crash. Is it going to be manufacturers or is it going to be driver? The manufacturers, they don't want to take responsibility. But the drivers also, he or she is not going to be at guilt because the car is supposed to drive by itself. So it's going to be a big issue. Then it is program driven. And you can program it if there is going to be a crash and if there is going to be a person versus an animal, who you are going to hit.
Mm.
There is going to be a moral issue. Or we should program it just to hit the animal. Then the animal lovers is going to come after what? There should be some sort of equity. You see, all of the problems that we are facing, that technology is going,
the really big issue of whether the car is going to protect the pedestrian or the person in the car.
That's
I did a bit of research on autonomous vehicles, and I think that's the most pressing one. I mean, you know, the car can swerve out of the way, or it could plow through the pedestrian. Swerving out of the way is going to put the driver in, or the passenger in much more greater harm's way. So.
Yeah, and they still have programs for work zone area. They still have programs again with the what? When the road is surfaced with the snow and ice. So there are so much things that's happening right now, and how we can control the speed. Right now they have control. We do have technology that we can control the speed. When they arrive to your city, your speed is 35 miles per hour. Your odometer can only go to 35 miles per hour. We do have the technology that they can control it. But is it, we have to change the US Constitution because what? Freedom of the speech, all of this freedom that we have. Why your car should have 160 miles per hour on the odometer, which you know that the legal speed is only 75 miles, or even in Texas, 85 miles per hour. Why your car should go 160 miles per hour? You see all of the issues that we are facing, right?
Yep.
Any other questions, please?
Well, we really appreciate you being here, and maybe you'll come back after we have completed our goal of 0 fatalities in town.
I will be more than delighted. And please let me know anytime that you have questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Especially thanks to all of you that you were here, and especially Mr. Scott. You were very, very helpful to us by arranging this for us. Thank you so much. And Scott, I will see you on Monday.
Yep, I'll be there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Moji.
Take care.
Take care.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.